Have you ever been in a conversation where everything sounded polished, convincing, even passionate, but something in your gut whispered that it was wrong? You couldn't pinpoint why. The facts seemed solid, the logic seemed airtight, the speaker was confident, persuasive, even charismatic, yet something felt twisted, distorted, off. That quiet unease you feel is not an accident. It's the fingerprint of sophistry. Sophistry is one of the oldest forms of deception. In ancient Greece, the sophists were professional arguers, masters of rhetoric, capable of making almost anything sound true. They weren't interested in truth itself, only in winning, and their weapon was simple: manipulate logic, cloak it in emotional language, and deliver it with confidence. The result? Victory, even at the cost of reality. Fast forward to today, and sophistry has not disappeared, it is multiplied. It no longer lives only in the courts of Athens. It lives in your feed, in your debates, in your everyday conversations. It thrives in a world overflowing with information where speed and sensation matter more than depth and accuracy. The irony is sharp. We live in the information age, yet we're drowning in logical chaos. Think about how often you see arguments packaged as common sense. Someone says, "It's obvious what's happening, just look around you." And you nod, because it feels right. But if you peel back the layers, you realize obvious is a mask. Beneath it lies assumption, bias, and untested claims. Sophistry hides in these shortcuts, and nowhere is it more visible than in the echo chambers of social media. Here's how it works. Algorithms feed you what you already agree with. Opinions that match your bias are repeated until they feel like facts. Opposing views are caricatured, mocked, reduced into absurd extremes. This creates a false sense of certainty. You feel informed, validated, even righteous, but you're not seeing reality. You're seeing a distorted mirror built to keep you scrolling. Sophistry doesn't need to prove itself. It just needs to feel right.
And nothing bypasses reason faster than emotion. Look at political speeches, advertisements, even viral campaigns. Notice how rarely they argue with pure logic. Instead, they appeal to fear. If this happens, everything you value will be destroyed. Or to anger, look what they're doing to you. Or to pride, you deserve better. These emotional triggers bypass critical thinking. By the time you realize what happened, the argument has already rooted itself in your mind, not as logic, but as conviction. The most dangerous part? Much of this deception is invisible because it's dressed in fragments of truth. Cherry-picked data, statistics stripped of context, studies that say just enough to sound official. For example, a politician might highlight one number to prove their policy is working, while ignoring 10 others that tell the opposite story. A company might showcase glowing testimonials while burying evidence of failure. These are not outright lies, they're distortions, half-truths arranged to look like the full picture. And half-truths are often harder to fight than lies because they sound convincing. The cost of this logical chaos is not academic, it's devastating. When flawed arguments dominate, societies polarize. People stop listening to each other. Dialogue collapses into shouting. We've all seen it. Families split over ideology. Friendships end over opinions. Nations fracture into camps that no longer share common ground. And underneath it all lies the same disease, sophistry weaponized at scale, eroding clarity, replacing truth with theater. But while the problem is vast, the solution begins on the smallest battlefield, the individual mind. You cannot stop sophistry from existing, but you can stop it from deceiving you. And the shield is critical thinking. The first defense is curiosity. Ask questions that dig beneath the surface. Why does this claim matter? What's the evidence? Who benefits if I believe this? A simple why or how can unravel the most polished deception. The second defense is skepticism, not the bitterness that dismisses everything, but the discipline to withhold belief until proof appears. If someone makes a sweeping claim, resist the urge to nod. Instead, Demand the specifics. Where's the data? Where's the context? Who said this and why? Skepticism is not negativity. It's mental armor. The third defense is verification. In an age of headlines, don't settle for headlines. Read beyond. In a world of quotes, seek the full speech. In a world of statistics, find the methodology. This takes time, and sophistry thrives on your unwillingness to invest that time. But once you build the habit, you begin to see the strings behind the puppet show. And then comes the hardest defense, confronting your own sophistry. Because the truth is, we all practice it. We defend our biases with selective evidence. We exaggerate points in arguments to win, not to discover truth. We tell ourselves comforting stories to avoid discomfort. If you only see sophistry out there and never in yourself, you'll never master it. The most dangerous lies are the ones we tell ourselves. So how do you go beyond defense into mastery? By cultivating logic not as a weapon, but as a way of life. Train your mind daily. Study fallacies so you can spot them in real time. Practice steel manning instead of straw manning, rebuilding the strongest version of your opponent's argument before critiquing it. This discipline sharpens not only your intellect, but your character. And imagine if this discipline spread beyond you. If content creators demanded clarity over clickbait. If consumers valued truth over spectacle. If citizens questioned before reacting, sought context before outrage. The noise would not vanish, but it would lose its grip. Sophistry thrives on ignorance. It starves in the presence of logic. The challenge is simple to say, hard to live. Don't settle for being entertained by arguments. Demand to be enlightened by them. Don't let persuasion replace truth. Don't mistake confidence for accuracy. And when you feel that unease, that whisper inside that something is wrong, don't ignore it. Follow it. Pull at the thread. You may just find the mask slipping and sophistry revealed for what it is, noise dressed as wisdom. The world is not getting quieter. The chaos is not slowing down. But you don't have to be lost in it. You can learn to see through it. You can sharpen your mind until no manipulation, no fallacy, no performance can blind you again. So the question is not whether sophistry exists. It does, and it always will. The question is, when it comes for you, will you be deceived or will you see through the mask? The choice is yours.